I've been wanting for a while to reproduce a dish that we did in an Italian cooking course that I took for about 9 months several years ago. Pasta Puttanesca, also known as pasta alla Puttanesca. It literally means pasta of the whores, the prostitutes. The idea being to get a meal onto the table quickly between customers. When done right, it's delicious. And I've been working on the formula for the sauce, and I think I have a really good Puttanesca sauce now. So let's make pasta Puttanesca. Let's take a moment to talk about olives for this recipe. I have here a variety of olives because the store where I bought these has an olive bar with like 15, 20 bins of different varieties of olives, and you can mix and match. They're all one price. So I just chose a bunch of them that I thought might be fun to work with. Some of these have pits in, some of them don't. Total weight on this with the pits in is about 3 ounces or 85 grams. That'll be lighter, of course, when the pits are taken out. Use whatever olives you like. I believe the traditional Italian olive is something called a Gaeta, G-A-E-T-A. I'll put the name down there for you. I'm just working with what I think would be a fun variety of olives. So there are my olives done. Some of these, the pits came out really easily. Some I had to tear the olive apart just to get the pit out. That's fine, they have to be chopped up. You can chop them up, tear them up, slice them up, whatever you want to do. So those are my olives done. Now I want to use half of a large onion. This one's nearly a pound. You need about 6-7 ounces. I'm figuring about 6 ounces of onion for this, which is about 170 grams. So by the time I trim this, I should end up with about maybe 6-7 ounces. Again, I'm going to use only half of this. Okay. And as I like to do, I have my own method for chopping onions to keep my fingers safe. I'm going to chop these fairly fine, because again, this is a dish that cooks quickly. So my parallel cuts here, I'm doing kind of close together. And then just cut across. And there's my diced onion. I mentioned that I'm going to be using some artichoke hearts. This is not a traditional part of the recipe. This is optional. But recipes like this that are kind of chunky and they have a nice mixture of bold flavored ingredients, I think artichoke hearts go well in this. So there are my chopped artichoke hearts. The weight on this came to about 3 ounces, 85 grams. Because I'm going to be working with canned tomatoes, I like, if I have the time, to include a little spiel that I enjoy doing about tomatoes, San Marzano tomatoes. I'm going to be using these tomatoes. I use these a lot now because the local grocery store stocks them. I used to have to drive down into the city to get them. Be careful about cans like this. I've seen TV chefs hold up a can identical to this saying you want to use genuine San Marzano tomatoes. Well, this is just a brand name. If you read the can closely, it says grown domestically in the USA. San Marzano is not a region in the USA. It's a region in Italy, southeast of Mount Vesuvius. It's like here in California we have Napa Valley, for example, a region well known for its wine grapes. Well, San Marzano just happens to be a region in Italy that, because of the soil and climate conditions, produces a very delicious tomato. So this is what I use when I can find them. Any canned tomato that you like is going to work okay in this dish because there are so many other flavors that if you don't use genuine San Marzano tomatoes, it's not going to make a lot of difference. But if you can find them, you might enjoy working with them. I've done my prep work. I'm ready to start cooking. So I'm heating a large skillet here on the stove. You need a big one because I'm going to be using 2 cans of tomatoes. And then I want to put my onions in there. And I want to cook these for about 5 minutes or so until they're tender and translucent. There are my onions after cooking for about 5 minutes. This is an American option. I saw a TV show, America's Test Kitchen, in which they made puttanesca, and they added onion. I happen to like onion, so I'm putting it in there. Now, this is about 3 cloves of garlic that I've minced. This is about 1/4 to an eighth to a quarter teaspoon of not fresh, that's dried oregano. Normally I wouldn't use red pepper flakes, but I'm adding them as optional. It'll give it a kind of a spicy hot flavor. I'm using them because I'm going to give this away. And then this is 3 anchovy fillets. That is traditional in Puttanesca. I'm putting them in now because the heat will break those up and they'll pretty much disappear into the sauce. Some recipes use a lot of anchovies, like 6 to 8 fillets. I want just a hint of flavor in there, but I don't want them to really proclaim their flavor in my sauce. I'm going to cook this for less than a minute now, just to cook that garlic and break up those anchovies. I'm ready to start adding my tomatoes. This is a bit messy because what I'm going to do is break the tomatoes up with my hands so that they're less chunky in my sauce. I'm doing 2 28-ounce cans. What is that in grams? 28-ounce can is about 794 grams. I've got my tomatoes in there now. I cleaned up my stove. I'm going to put a good heaping chunk of tomato paste in there. This is from a 6-ounce 170-gram can. Just a good dollop. That too is optional. I'm going to bring my heat back up and get this to a boil. You only cook this for about 5 minutes. This is a very quick recipe to cook. In the meanwhile, I am heating water on my stove for my pasta. My sauce has been simmering now for 5 minutes. Every 30 seconds or so I come in here to give this a stir. I used a splatter screen so I wouldn't get sauce all over my counter or on my camera lens. Now I'm going to add my olives to that. I have here 2 tablespoons of capers that I've soaked in a couple of times in fresh water. And then rinse those well. I mentioned my artichoke hearts. Those are ready to go in. I love artichoke hearts in dishes like this. Okay, one thing I do want to do is I want to grind some black pepper in there. This too seems to be optional. I don't see that in a lot of recipes. Okay. I want to put my screen back on and I want to cook this now for another 5 minutes. My sauce is done. I turned my heat off under that. I have to taste that yet for salt, but I'll do that in a minute. Meanwhile, my water is boiling. I'm going to be using penne pasta because I think the shape of the pasta goes well with the chunkiness of the sauce. You can use any pasta that you like. This is a 500 gram, 17.6 ounce package. Cook the whole package if you want to feed 4 to 6 people. I'm not going to cook it all. I'm just going to cook enough for a demonstration. So, just going to pour in part of the package. This cooks in 11 minutes to have an al dente pasta. I'm ready now to do my plating. So I drained my pasta and then dressed it with a little bit of sauce. Wonderful. And here is I have plenty of sauce. I'm going to have a big pan of sauce here. I'm going to have sauce left over, lots of sauce. I'll freeze it. or give some of it away, or give some of it away. There's my pasta puttanesca. I want to clean my plate here a little bit. Presentation. Good. You can garnish this if you'd like with a little bit of freshly shredded or grated Parmesan or Romano cheese. Because I had it, I also did a little bit of a basil chiffonade. And I put some basil in the sauce to finish it. I didn't salt the sauce because when I tasted it, it tasted fine without salt. It got some of the salt from the olives, which I figured it would do. Now I'm ready to taste this. All right, let's see what I've got here compared to what I had last time I made this. Train going by just in time. A little bit of ambiance. Get some of my sauce here. Oh wow. That is so good. It has like a fresh tomato flavor. I think that's what I did last time. Did wrong last time. I think I cooked it too long. That is an incredibly good pasta puttanesca. So excuse me, I'm going to go enjoy my lunch. For a printable PDF copy of this recipe with step-by-step photographs, visit my website, mobilehomegourmet.com, and look on the home page or in the recipe archive.